The culling has begun. Okay, children are getting abducted all over the place right now. Who will be left with them? Look at Squeeze! She's like, you're my best friend! No, you can't touch the children. It's like some sort of homeschool-based capture. And it's right now, half of your friends just got taken away by characters.
My favorite definitely overall, I'm glad we're going to buy one. Not a fan of how because she's setting up these running gags. But compared to the first, I find myself laughing
drowning.
Although forever I would believe it all. But the big unsubtle
oh god, my students are starting to drown to death. They've all figured it's the only way out of homeschooling. Alright, a lot of educational TV going
all
on.
I need to do was
working out well and again, more drowning's happening right now, but I mean, that's just, you always kind of have to have around the moment that we use my never thought the math area was so much please stop intentionally drowning yourselves to get out of your school like every morning because the governor's excited. No, Constance, my brother. Okay, there's a fire. Fire has started. Kids, there's a fire. Run.
I like that on this terrible which is
Florida man, Jesus, no! Oh, the final culling has begun, I guess. Okay, the rest of the neglects are happening right now. The Florida man just died. I mean, good news is I don't think there's going to be school tomorrow. Alright, another round of child reintegration to society is happening right now. We'll see who's left after this one.
That's a really good concept that never explored.
There's actually only one adult left, and it's Ellen. Ellen's in this study right here. She didn't get any skills in anything.
Especially because nobody gets a fuck about it back on her. Not even Nick.
Absolutely. You know what? I may actually
Jimmy's really set up to once they go to his head. Despite not even thinking at the time that he was the references to fires. But when it's revealed that he's being called into action again, he gets himself in his way, trying to pass the buck off. They never really do much in regards to realizing that kind of a bitch and need to build up for it. They attempted at the very last possible second, but by then, which leads us to number 3, the ending. The ending to this part had me on the edge of my seat this year. It was just the whole promotion specials, which in and of themselves are very lame, as they literally spoil what happens in an attempt to hype you up. Like, for example, this one ends with Timmy supposedly dying, but the credits have a promotion for the next part that not only shows he's fine, but also the entire thing on for the final encounter is darkness. But either way, all the ads for this one were like, killing and taking murder is going to have to sacrifice. And you think it's going to be this same moment that the special builds up to, but no. After Timmy finally meets up with his friend's family he comes to realize that darkness once hit, and so to protect the ones that he loves, he jumps into the black void and sacrifices himself for the greater good.
Something wrong.
Now this would be really cool and serious. If anything throughout the whole special was building up towards this heroic act, like I said, the theme of him taking everyone for granted really paid off here. But because at this point in time, the show's only two goals are the eggs and they never even attempt to build up a hero. As a 6-year-old boy, Timmy and Trixie finally kissing was enough for me to be satisfied. But as a 20-year-old, I don't know, I think I just require a bit more of my children's
as a result of this change.
Still, though, which all of this part 2 doesn't feel like a blushing that helps fill otherwise dead. It feels like I'm watching like I said before, I actually managed to throw but it wasn't through the better utilization of things I would expect from Fairly Odd Parents. Mainly these are more of their secondary parts, along with a better time branding and
They're no
find out
longer
what happens
equals,
next.
with Butthead abusing his friend unprompted.
Garofalo even saying, I was never told why I assumed because I sound like a man.
I vividly remember watching this episode
Episode 28 showcases this perfect
dialogue.
after a snack takeoff gets stuck in the vending machine, what are Beavis doing to your He manages to haggle $1 for his old women, but finds dozen leftover nachos at the gas station. He then abandons the lackey and goes home, as Beavis waits like a loyal dog until the episode ends. In a superficial sense, Butthead is the smart one. He's more conniving, and to match this, we start hearing that coy, sarcastic voice he does for one line.
Although they definitely go out of their way to make sure you're aware that not everything is right. Cosmo and Wonder are actually new technology.
We realize that Beavis is usually just roped in, which leaves the viewer wondering if he'd be as hopeless if not for Butthead.
The story and the sensibility of the movie. In other words, visually, he needed to be
More on that later. Beavis becomes more erratic, where Butthead has to start telling him to calm down.
Realistic,
Of course, this is to find out that the scenario much like the finale of
after
Gravity
recording a
Falls.
dialogue over the
Timmy's
best part
still in the
of
dark.
3 years,
Let's create
another
a
test
perfect
screening
home
was
for
held.
Sherry
Upon seeing it,
Breeze and
players
Rescue
who
and
had
welcome
voiced
back by all
Fittingly,
means,
it's
and then
this season that we're also introduced to his alter ego, Cornholio. Cornholio first appears in episode 29, still reveals a transformation arc established until 31. That's because the great Cornholio was the very last in production when the team realized they were one episode short.
I know everybody out there.
They remembered the one-off gag, and the rest is history.
Oh, cheers.
What could have been a filler episode wound up establishing a staple part of the character. The only issue they really had was finding an excuse to make it happen. With now 2 controversies under their belt, there were a few roadblocks to getting there.
Taking over Earth was really required now we can't sniff. I'm still not a fan of the fact that only parts of the You can tell the writers are really trying their
Thrills
hardest
to turn away from violence and substance abuse. And I think that was a good thing. It inadvertently forced them to ground the characters and make their motivations mundane. Thus, when the end result is extreme, it's ridiculous, and in turn, funnier. Here, they eventually decided the trigger to be sugar, which gives a lot more variety to how Cornholio appears. Sometimes, simpler can be better. One of my favorite episodes this season is Trouble Urinate, which is entirely about them forgetting how to see.
Like I said before.
Classic character, Fat Bastard.
I do appreciate that through
they
the
test report
here,
and upon
he was
doing it,
severely
instantly
underutilized. And I guess
signed
Butch
off on a
realized that if he got a celebrity like
despite the
Brad
fact
putting
that
in the
I already
you might as
mentioned
well give
versus
more
the
than a
vending
few
machines, but there's also Beavis and
Shrek
Butthead
becomes
Island,
Shrek
where they
becomes
stranded for
Shrek
days on a decorative island
million
at the mall.
worth of animation out and
which is
did it
literally
again.
the
While
exact
buyers
same
who offered to do a
Now,
re-record
not all of
for no
season 4
further
is simple.
charge.
Nothing
There are
is not
kind of
emotional.
standouts that really show the extreme
Again, he doesn't
tendencies.
fucking learn
In
anything.
jump, Beavis and Butthead visit a bank
nothing
attempting to withdraw $1 million. However, just as they're turned away, law enforcement appears alleging the banker to have committed fraud and
And so Turbo
embezzlement.
Thunder simply gives him the power
He
necessary.
quickly runs to the fifth-story roof, where he threatens suicide.
It's not a huge deal. These 3 parts are so jam-packed full of steam, I honestly barely noticed. But it's still something I feel would have elevated this further. The worst thing they do, though, is
The two inform police they talked to him before, and thus accept to negotiate. Instead of helping, they laugh and tell him to jump.
taking along with all the various movie world.
As a favor, Spielberg also made a brief cameo in the third Austin Powers flick,
They just kind of
2002.
fly around for a while until you
Shrek premiered
The
at the
baker,
Cannes
wealthy
Film
and
Festival
needs to
in
back
April
out,
of
pretends to have a
2001
moral
as the
epiphany
first
while
animated
speaking to
film
them,
since
running from the ledge and hugging them. He's taken into custody, and they complain about not getting their money.
Generally, it
The episode rolls extremely well, even if because they don't have to be there. Their motivations are completely unrelated to what's going on, yet they're a key component to how it ends. This formula of having major events occur around them, completely out of their control, is genius. It treats their entire world as a stranger as they react predictably and unfazed. A similar episode is Blackout, in which Highland loses all electricity. Beavis and Butthead walk around looking for a television as a dystopic riot entails. This is unrelated, but I just want to quickly mention the episode with Mr. Manners because it's a personal favorite. He threatens to assault them for not complying in class.
Highest grossing film of the year worldwide.
nothing in this whole 3 hours
Cousin Beavis
ever
screamed
implied
that
that
it
Harry
touched
Potter
them.
and the Philosopher's
The
Stone
reason for this is,
Lord of the Rings,
well,
the
anytime it got mad and killed civilization, it's because it was provoked.
Then a
And that's
fight breaks
supposed to
out between him
justify
and
it.
Van
Like the
Driesel.
darkness in the
Oh, and
animation,
he's voiced by
like
David
the
Spade pretty well.
But it just bothers me because that
Okay,
clearly wasn't where they were
so
going.
I have a note here, and I don't really know how to phrase this better. Beavis and Butthead get hornier from calling sex hotlines to looking under the stalls of women's
She is selling
restroom, their love
DVD
quest
of
starts to
all time.
influence every
What's
episode.
that?
In
Selling
season 3,
7
there was a
million
bit more
copies
balance
across
between their
DVD
lust,
and
wrath, and
VHS
greed,
in the
but the
first
two become
3
dead
days of
set on
release.
scoring.
It would eventually
In
sell
Teen
to
Talk, Beavis even
1
has a
million
meltdown about how he's
its
never going to
original
score.
intro. Included in the home media release was what can be considered the first piece of extended Shrek media. Shrek and the Swamp Karaoke Dance Party, a 3-minute short film acting as an extension of the film's final scene, with two characters singing more.
Overall, season 4 is the first
The short
season
is
I'd
so
actually
well known
recommend
and
for someone to
beloved
sit
with
through
those
start to
generation
finish.
of kids
There's a
that
ton of
loved
variety, and the improvements help negate the monotony of earlier seasons.
Directly after the movie, that many
MTV's
often
Very
confuse
Innocent
it
is
as
brought to you
being
by-
This
part
video
of
is
the
sponsored by
movie itself.
Keith.
There's no way.
After
Do you know that 2 out of every
74
3 guys will
awards in
experience their loss by the time they're
Shrek walked
35?
away with
Well,
the
thankfully,
first
Keith
ever
has them
Oscar
covered.
for
Keith is an
Best
online
Animated
subscription
Feature,
service that
once
offers
again,
clinically
beating out
proven,
Monsters, Inc.
research-backed
and
treatments to
solidifying
hair loss and
DreamWorks as
improving
a
hair growth.
powerhouse
Whether you're
in
looking to
animation
lose
and
balls or
a
just take better care of the hair you have, Keith can develop a routine for you. In addition to their treatments, they have an award-winning all-natural thickening shampoo and conditioner system.
Changing the face
Their
of
physicians
animation
help you
and
select the
making
right
way
products
for
and
a
treatments
new
for your
stage.
specific
But
conditions and goals.
styles
Hair loss
should
stops with
continue
Keith.
today.
To get
This
50% off
success
your
led
first
to
order, go to
Reupload's
keeps.com/Bernie or click the link in the description. That's keeps.com/Bernie.
You know, drag.
2004.
Season
Again,
5
I think
came
the
out
match
October
was
31st, 1994.
already on the way.
This one was the most daunting to binge because it consists of 50 episodes, the longest in the show's run, but it passed a lot faster than I expected. Immediately, the writing was a lot punchier than before. In conjunction with their small talk, there's consistently great one-liners littered throughout.
So many questions left open in the first as soon as possible. Of course, Myers, Murphy, and Diaz returned to their lead roles. While filmmakers seemingly had all the time in the world to
Beavis
craft
and
the
Butthead show
original
solidarity
Shrek,
with other
Shrek 2 had to be
degenerates,
much
from
more
catcallers to
streamlined.
perverted
Though
mall
despite
cops.
some
They'll always remark
restrictions,
about how
they
cool they are,
couldn't rush it. Katzenberg further
which is of
cited
course
the
a thinly
biggest
veiled
single
insult to
challenge of
writers.
Shrek 2
One of
as
them
being
is
trying
Todd,
to meet
a rugged
people's
hoodlum who the duo
expectations.
idolize and wish to
Newly anointed
befriend.
co-director Conrad Vernon said another was to make sure they could surprise audiences again by sticking with the
Todd was
heart,
first
soul,
introduced in
intent,
season
and
2,
sincerity
appearing
of the
sporadically
original
to abuse
without
them.
falling into the
It's this
sequel
season that he
trap
starts
of
appearing
bigger is
consistently,
better.
making their
Filmmakers
existence
wanted
a
the
living
film to
hell.
hinge on
In
the
Safe
nature
House,
of
he kicks their
happily
door
ever
in to
after
use
and
their home as a
explore
safe
what
house.
really
Beavis and
happens
Butthead
next.
pose as
It
members
was
of his
decided that
gang,
the film
causing
would
them to get
introduce
beaten and
the
arrested.
in-laws, and
In
after
episode
briefly
17,
considering
they creep on
story
a
which
female
would see
barber,
Shrek's
only to
parents
find out it's
visiting the
Todd's
swamp,
girlfriend.
it was
He
realized
chokes
that
and
it
assaults
wasn't
them.
Fiona
The very
who
next
had to meet the
episode has
parents,
Todd
but
breaking in
Shrek.
again to host a
Looping back
party,
to the
this
core
time
ideas
forcing
of
them
the
out
first,
and trashing
Shrek
the
2 would
house.
see
In
Shrek
general,
coming
it's a
face to
painful
face
time
with
to be our
unaccepting
protagonist.
in-laws
There
that
are so many
public more
episodes centering
judgmental
around
than
their
the
soul
inhabitants of the
misfortune,
swamp.
as if an
Andrew
apology for
Adamson,
previous
returning as
seasons.
co-director alongside Vernon and a returning Asprey, has been credited
Butthead
with
spends all of
devising this
episode 4
idea,
suffocating in a
inspired by
piece
the
of chicken
groundbreaking
before Beavis repeats the same
1967
mistake.
Sidney
In Wet
Poitier
Behind the
film,
Rears,
Guess
the
Who's
two are
Coming for
publicly
Dinner,
humiliated
about
in
a
front of the
black
school
man
while in
meeting
their
his
underwear.
white girlfriend's parents. The
This is
film
shown
would
to be
also
a
bring
deliberate
Prince
plot by
Charming
Principal
into the
McVicker
fold
and Coach
as his
Buzzcut.
mother, the evil fairy godmother,
But don't feel too
schemes a
bad, because
plot
most of
to
their
fulfill
comeuppance
his
is a direct
destiny of
result of their
marrying
love
Fiona.
quest.
Feeling
They are at their
shamed,
most
shunned, and
despicable,
helpless throughout
with
it
the
all,
first
Shrek is
episode
put
having
in a
Butthead
position
hitting on
where
a
he has
7th
to face
grader.
his own
Have you ever,
personal
like, been with
insecurities
an older
over
man?
again, once
calling
more making
kindergartners
him
flat.
his own biggest
chicks are
enemy. In
flat.
order to win over
In
Fiona's
Spanish
parents
Fly,
and
they
the
attempt to
general public
roofie
of the
girls at
kingdom
their
of far,
school,
far away,
accidentally
and to
spiking a
win
guy's
back
drink,
Fiona
who gets
from
an
the
erection while
dastardly
wrestling
Charming.
Beavis.
Shrek takes a potion that turns him into
Hell,
a
women
dashing
literally
prince,
has them
giving us
beat
our
up by
first
female
look at him
activists.
in human form. Donkey, getting in on the action, transforms himself into a gorgeous white stallion.
Season 5 has
Myers
a ton
noted
of
that he
variety,
loved being
all of which
given
are
a chance
executed
to
very
explore
well.
Shrek's
One of the most
character even
creative is
further,
episode
and again
22,
helped
Dream On.
filmmakers
The two fall
redefine
asleep
him
and imagine
creatively
themselves
at a
in
moment
different
where they
television
felt like
shows,
they were
which is as
starting
great
to
as you'd
lose the
expect.
character.
The TV
Finally,
premises
with
remain
revelation
lovably
after
dumb.
revelation,
They're
the film
screamers
winds
where
up
they
back
literally
where
just
it started,
scream at
with
everyone they
Shrek
see.
and Fiona rekindling their true love, and the general populace coming to
But my
accept
favorite
them
is
for who
Pregnant
they are.
Pause. Beavis
Additionally,
watches
the
a
movie
spot about
continued to break
pregnancy and
new
gets
ground in
afraid that he's
animation,
displaying
with new
symptoms,
technologies
only to
devised
find
to
out he
help
needs
make
to take a
characters
dump.
like the newly
Of course,
introduced
one
Puss in
episode I
Boots,
have to
voiced by
mention is
Antonio
Lightning Strikes.
Banderas,
Beavis and
possible.
Butthead
Puss
watch
is
a
introduced
documentary about Benjamin Franklin learning that he flew a kite with Key during a storm. They decided to copy this, only to be struck by lightning and admitted to the emergency room. There, a media watchdog visits to inquire about what they'd watched on TV. He is later interviewed claiming that rock music had encouraged them.
For a new motion simulator attraction to open at Universal Studios Hollywood and Orlando in 2003.
This was a direct response to the controversies where they explicitly call the concerned parents stupid.
Donkey, heading off on their honeymoon. Along the way, they are accosted by the ghost of Lord Farquaad,
Another
finding
notable side
themselves in the
character is
middle
the
of an
disgraced
dragon-born
attorney Joe
dragon
Adler.
battle and
In
ends up
sexual
plummeting
harassment,
down
Beavis
a
and Butthead hire Adler to
1,000-foot
sue a
waterfall.
classmate for
The
giving them
attraction
erections.
presented a short in 3D and featured motion scenes with pneumatic air propulsion and water spray nodules.
This same
allowing for a
character
fully
appears in Mike
synced
Judge's live-action
sensory
film
experience.
Extract,
While the
portrayed
short
by
was
Gene
created
Simmons of
for a
Kiss
theme
fame.
park attraction,
That's
it
the
was
only reason I
handled
brought this
by
guy up.
Shrek 2's
Season 5 is when they
production
nailed
team,
the
who
writing
made
and
sure there
structure
were
of the
no
show.
narrative
The comedic
conflicts
timing
in
is
order to
perfect, and they struck a
retain
great balance
concise
between
continuity
formats.
and
My only
proper
complaint is that I wish there were more
narrative between the
episodes
two
placing the two
movies.
in intense
Producer David Lippman
scenarios,
said,
like
"We
Jump
had to
from
keep
Season
things
4.
clean and
Now,
not
the
step on
complaint is a
anything
bit
that was happening
short-sighted,
in
given
Shrek
that just
2.
over
The
a year
following
later,
year,
the
short was
concept would be
released on
transformed into the
DVD.
theatrical
As
debut.
Shrek 3D, the story continues. So
As Season
all
5
viewers
neared
could
the
see
end of
it before the
production,
release
Judge was
of the
approached to
sequel.
renew his
Almost a
contract,
decade
but he'd grown
before
tired of
3D
the show,
became a
and at the
major
time was
staple
busy
of
developing what
blockbuster
would eventually
releases, and
become
the
King of the
inception
Hill.
of 3D
As Judge
capable
reviewed his
home
options,
media,
he realized
Shrek
that
3D
all
was
necessitated
presented
an
in
8th
anaglyph
season.
3D,
I think
with the
my
DVD set bundled
contract,
with
like,
pairs
with
of
all the
red and
renewing
blue
options, went
tinted
to
paper
8
glasses.
seasons.
More recently, the short has been
Using his
reissued
leverage, he
in
managed to
2D
convince
as part of
executives to end the
various
show
short film
prematurely at
packages
Season
on
7
home
in
media
favor of doing
under
a
the new
feature-length
title,
movie.
The
This would
Ghost of
naturally
Lord
affect the
Farquaad.
still ongoing
Shrek 2
production of
opened in
Season 6, which was
mid-2004,
reduced to
performing
only 20
even better
episodes.
than the
Due
original,
to these
taking in
circumstances,
just shy
Season
of
6 is much more
$1
grounded
billion
and
at
smaller
the
scale
global
than
box office
5.
on a
It focuses on the
$150
established side
million
characters in
budget.
somewhat of a return
Likewise,
to
it
form.
competed for the Palme d'Or at Cannes as only the 6th animated film in history to do so, since only one more, 2007's Persepolis, has gone for
Most
the prize.
episodes take place
Today,
at
many
school,
fans
such as
consider
Sprout,
Shrek
The Mystery
2
of the Morning
best in
Wood,
the
and
entire
U.S. history.
franchise.
That
Hitting
last
home
one
media in late
hilariously begins with
2004,
Daria
the film
explaining
was
the magic
also
bullet
presented
theory.
alongside a
Clearly, the
brand new
assassination
Shrek
was
short,
conspiracy.
Far, Far Away Idol,
you,
a
Daria.
parody
That
of
gave me the
American Idol
chills.
featuring
There
the
are a
Shrek
few moments
characters
that
and
shake
a
up the
cameo
formula,
appearance
though.
of
Episode
then
14
Idol
has
judge
Principal
Simon
McVicker and
Cowell.
Coach Buzzcut
Naturally,
actually
the
get in trouble for
gigantic
abusing
success
them.
of Shrek 2
Then,
resulted
2
in a
episodes
further
later, the
3
duo
Shrek
stalk Van
installments
Driesen to
being
watch him and his
greenlit by
girlfriend hook up.
DreamWorks, who
But the
now
most
wanted to
interesting
tell
part
the
of Season
story
6
in
by far are
5
the
parts.
specials.
Following
There was
a
a
couple
Halloween
of
one, but
delays,
that's not what I'm
Shrek
talking
the
about.
Third
For
hit
Christmas,
theaters in
MTV aired a 40-minute
mid-2007. The
animated
film sees Shrek
celebration
and
that
Fiona
bizarrely
preparing to
gave
take the
insight to the
throne of
trauma
King
they've
and Queen
inflicted on
of
others.
Far, Far Away.
There are 2
as
parts to the
Fiona's
holiday
father,
episode.
King Harold,
One about
reaches
Beavis
his
and the other
deathbed.
about
However,
Butthead.
Shrek has
Ha Ha
another
Humbug
crisis.
is a parody of A
Fearing an
Christmas
ogre
Carol.
should not
Beavis
be
attempts
king.
to
He
watch
sets out on
pornography
a
before being
whirlwind
interrupted by
adventure
the
with
ghost
his
of
pals
Christmas
Donkey
past,
and Puss
present,
to
and
find
future.
Arthur,
This is where the
only
iconic
other
image
heir
of
to the
Beavis
throne,
seeing his
and
own
bring
grave
him to the
originates
kingdom.
from, where it
Madness
declares that he
ensues when
never
they come to
scored.
realize
It ends
Arthur,
with Beavis
or Artie,
almost
is an
self-reflecting,
inexperienced
before
and
Butthead wakes him up
underachieving
mid-thigh.
16-year-old.
Now, while he didn't take
Meanwhile,
the
a
lessons to
pregnant
heart,
Fiona
it's worth
remains in
pointing
the
out that they
kingdom,
at
while
least felt
Prince
Beavis was
Charming
capable
teams
of
up with
moral
a band
reform.
of villains
The
to
same
take
cannot be
over
said
the
for
land
Butthead,
and
as we'll
steal
see
the
in part
throne.
2.
A huge finale sees Charming
Between the
defeated
episodes is
and
a
Artie
segment called
taking the
Letters to
crown
Santa
as
Butthead.
king, while
A month
Shrek,
prior,
Fiona,
MTV
and their
ran
new
promotions
children
asking
retreat
viewers
to
to
the
send in
swamp
fan
to
mail,
start their
meaning that
family
yes,
life.
these
The
are
movie
all real.
continued the exploration of Shrek's insecurities, but didn't manage to hit the same depth or soul as its predecessors. While still
As it
pulling
turns
in
out, a
over
lot of female
$800
fans
million
adore
at the
Beavis,
global
with one in
box office, it
particular writing
received
love
a
letters to him.
lukewarm critical
Dear Santa
and
Butthead,
audience
all I want
reception,
for
with many
Christmas is
bemoaning an
Beavis.
overload
Butthead
of
refuses to
pop
accept
culture
this fact
references
and
at
whips
the
Beavis
expense
out of
of
anger.
classic
This is starting to
Shrek,
piss me
heart,
off.
charm, and wit. The movie was also criticized for its oddly balanced humor, with a mix of franchised low, puerile, watered-down jokes and incredibly adult gags. David Anson of Newsweek remarked that it's a movie at war with itself, a kiddie movie that doesn't really want to be one. A new
Once it's
short
over,
Shrek
part 2
installment was
begins,
released
a
in late
parody of It's a Wonderful
2007
Life.
on
The
television.
episode starts
Shrek
with the
the
side
Halls
characters
was a
praying for
22-minute
God to kill
holiday
Beavis
special
and
set
Butthead.
immediately
I'm not
after
joking.
Shrek the Third, charting Shrek's very first Christmas on the swamp. Of course, in true style, it's a Christmas full of family, fights, and disaster, but
In
ultimately
response,
one
Butthead's
with
guardian
redemption
angel
and
tries to
togetherness.
convince him to
Airing on
commit
ABC,
suicide
it
by
ranked
showing how
number
great
one in
life
its
would be
time
if he
slot
wasn't
on its
born.
original airing,
In
and
sure
later
enough,
received
it's
a
true.
standalone
Anderson is
and
happy,
bundle
Burger
home
World is
media release
prosperous, and
alongside
McVicker looks a lot
Shrek the
healthier.
Third.
Even
While Shrek
Daria is
4 was
affected,
a few
noting that
years
they
off,
weren't there to
Shrek
ruin
the
her perception
musical
of Matt.
opened on Broadway in December of 2008. The
But the
musical
most shocking
retold the movie
revelation is what
but as
happened
a
to Beavis.
Broadway musical featuring almost 30 new songs, expanding the movie's story and
In this
characters. The
timeline,
musical
we find
also
him to be an
featured new
upstanding
moments
citizen
and
volunteering
flashback
at the
scenes.
homeless shelter
The
with
production
Stewart.
received a mixed reception, but managed to walk away with a Tony Award for Best Costume Design and a further 7 nominations, including Best
I mentioned
Musical,
before
Best
that there are
Book,
moments
Best
when you
Original
wonder how
Score,
bad
and
Beavis would be
Best
without
Actor and
Butthead.
Actress
Well,
nods.
this is
While
the
it only
canonical
ran for
answer.
12
He'd
months
actually
on
be a good
Broadway, it
person.
went on to tour the
When
US,
Butthead tries to
then saw a
drag him away,
successful
Beavis is
2-year
even
run on
defended by the
London's
homeless,
West
who
End.
reference that
It
he's a
later
good
toured
kid.
the UK and Ireland, Brazil, and Australia. In 2013, a pro-shot
This all goes
recording
to
of the
show
original
just how
Broadway
misunderstood
production
Beavis
was
actually
released on
is.
home media.
He isn't
The
evil,
fourth
he's
Shrek
just a
movie,
naive kid looking
intended to
for
be the
acceptance, who
franchise's
found
penultimate
validation in an
entry, was
abusive
initially in
narcissist.
production under the
Many such
title
cases.
Shrek
Unfortunately,
Goes
these
Forth,
visions
though,
do
according
little
to
to convince
co-writer Josh
Butthead. They return to the
about a
original
year into
timeline where their
development,
angel
Katzenberg
falls into a
decided
river.
that the
Now, that's
story
pretty
was
much the end of the
right way
special.
for
The only
Shrek's
thing left
journey
to mention
end,
is an
falling
actual letter
back
they
on his
received from
original
prison.
plan for a story of four parts. The title was then changed to Shrek
The rest of season
Forever
6 is
After,
as
though
you'd
was heavily
expect.
marketed
It ends
as
with Beavis
Shrek
and
the
Butthead
Final
drinking non-alcoholic
Chapter. In the
drinks
movie,
and then
Shrek
failing a
faces
sobriety
one
test
last
anyway.
internal
Overall,
challenge,
it was
a
much better than
midlife
I'd have
crisis that
imagined
results
given their
in
split
him
attention.
accidentally
There are a
wishing
lot of
his
great
life away to
episodes,
the
with the
evil
Christmas special being a
Rumpelstiltskin.
standout
Shrek is
must-watch.
transported to an alternate reality where he was never born, and
Beavis and Butthead
Rumpelstiltskin
to America
rules
was
the
released on
kingdom.
December
In a narrative
20th,
clearly inspired by
1996.
Frank
With a budget of
Capra's
$12 million, it
1946
made over
film,
5
It's a
times that in
Wonderful Life.
returns,
Shrek,
becoming the
to
largest
prevent
box
himself
office
from
opening in
being
December at the
erased forever,
time.
must win
This
over
movie
the
is incredible.
affections of a
If you're to watch
still
even
cursed
just the
Fiona,
one thing
now
talked about in
leading
this
an
video, I'd
ogre-resistant
recommend
army,
this the
and
most.
join her
Do
in
America places
overthrowing
Beavis
the
and
new
Butthead
king.
into an
Of
international
course,
spy
after some
thriller,
missteps
unwittingly
and
saving the planet
gigantic
from
battle
apocalypse.
sequences, Shrek and Fiona fall in love again and are transported back to their
There's so
original
many references
timeline
to the show
live
that I
their
didn't
happily
appreciate
ever
at the
after
time.
once and
The
for all.
burglars who start
Shrek
the chain of
Forever
events
After
first
opened in
appeared in
April of
season 5.
2010 and was
Beavis' freak out on the
again
bus
an
is a
enormous
callback to his
financial
meltdown in
hit,
season
though
4.
making
Even their
slightly
motive of
less
finding
than
a
the
TV
previous,
is lifted
with
from the
just
episode
over
Blackout.
$750
Oh,
million
and Butthead's
on a
dad is
budget
voiced by David
close to
Letterman.
$160 million.
I
While
don't
the
want to spoil
movie
too much about the
once
movie
again
because
received
I'd
a
rather you just watch it
relatively
yourself.
lukewarm
I just want to
reception,
show
it
this
was
sequence
almost
in which they
universally
spent thousands
believed
of
to
dollars
be
on
far
technology
superior to
revolutionized by
Shrek
Disney
3.
to
The movie
animate
was
their
the first
stupid
and
dance in
only
3D. And I
feature-length
can't
Shrek
forget the peyote
installment
scene based on
originally
Rob Zombie's
released in
artwork
3D,
featuring an original
and
song by
DreamWorks
White
Animation's
Zombie.
third
Overall, the
overall,
film feels
following
like an
a huge
incredible
push from
celebration of their
Katzenberg
status
to
as cultural
capitalize on the
touchstones,
format,
and stands
believing
alone
it to
beyond
be
the
the
show.
greatest
Judge has gone on
advance in
record
the
to state
film
that the
industry
production was
since the
very ad
arrival of
hoc due
colour
to the
in
staff's
the
background in
1930s,
television.
as
Needless
became
to
a
say, they did a
standard during
great job,
Hollywood's huge
reflected by the film's
3D
massive
boom. The
success.
first 3 Shrek movies were all given
going to kick
3D
your-
conversions, which were released as part of a 3D Blu-ray collection in late 2010 to coincide with the home media release of Shrek 4. This release again sported a brand
Season
new
7
short
is, as
film,
alluded to
Donkey's
before, the last of
Caroling
Beavis and Butthead's
Christmas-tacular,
original
a
run.
5-minute
Before even
tale
talking
which
about
sees
the
Donkey
episodes,
leading
I
a
want to point
medley
out that
of
for the
fairy
first time,
tale
created by
Christmas
Mike
carols.
Judge is in
The
the
short
intro.
was included as a
Despite conceiving
bonus
two of the
DVD
biggest pop
branded
cultural
Donkey's
icons of the
Christmas
generation,
Shrek-tacular,
Judge didn't own the
which
rights to
featured
his
a
own
program
characters.
of Christmas-themed interactive features, including Shrek's Yule Log, a 30-minute virtual fireplace featuring all of the classic Shrek characters. Additionally, in 2010, Shrek and
It's an
Company
unfortunate
appeared in
reality
yet
check.
another
Judge wouldn't have a
22-minute
career
holiday
without
special,
MTV,
this
and it's
time
why we
aired
ever
on
got to see Beavis and
NBC.
Butthead and
Scared
later King of the Hill.
Shrekless was a
But to get
Halloween
it, he had to
special
sign a
featuring
predatory
3 short
contract
parodies of
forfeiting
classic
ownership.
horror
It took
movies.
7
The Bride
seasons
of
and a
Gingy,
movie for
a Bride
Judge
of
to even get
Frankenstein
recognition on the
parody
title
starring
card.
Gingy, Boots
Surprisingly,
Motel,
the format
a
of the
Psycho
show
parody
changed
starring
significantly
Puss in
after the
Boots and
movie.
Donkey,
Now,
and
3 episodes
The
are played per half
Shrexorcist,
hour, with
an
the music video
Exorcist
squished
parody
in
starring
between.
Shrek
The animated
and
segments are
Pinocchio.
no longer
The special
interrupted
also
as less
featured new
emphasis is placed on the
bookends and
commentary.
linking sequences
In
with the
fact, all of
characters
those
sitting
segments
around
would
a
actually be
fire telling
recycled
each
from
other
previous
these
seasons,
scary
probably so
stories.
Judge
The
didn't
special
have
hit
to
home
record
media
more.
the following year, accompanied by Thriller Night, a new 6-minute short parody
truly
of
does feel
Michael
like the crew got
Jackson's
burnt out
Thriller
on the
music
characters.
video.
I guess
featuring
there was
the
no
Shrek
way they
crew
could
and a
surpass
gang
the
of
movie, and they knew the
zombified
show was ending,
franchise villains.
so it reverted
Scared
back to
Shrekless
simplicity.
was released
With
again
that
in
said, I still
2012's
enjoyed it.
Shrek's
Nosebleed
Thrilling
is reminiscent of
Tales
season
home media
4, with a simple
compilation,
problem
which bundled
aggravated
the
to
film
the
up with a
extreme.
selection of other shorts, including The Pig Who Cried Wolf, a 6-minute
And a great
short
day has
starring the
Beavis
3
and
little
Butthead
pigs
unwittingly
and the Big
blackmail a
Bad
serial
Wolf, which had been
killer, one of my
released as a
favorite moments in the whole show.
3DS video exclusive a few months earlier. The contents of Shrek's Thrilling Tales were later reissued with various other shorts as the DreamWorks Spooky Stories collection. Though another Shrek movie wasn't on the way, 2011 did see the release of the franchise's first spin-off movie, one which was alluded to in the final frames of Forever After. character. Puss in Boots naturally told the origins of
After a
Shrek's
certain
kitty
point, even the
companion
show begins to
years
question
before
the
they
future
met,
of these two
charting his
kids.
adventures alongside
now we
newly
can
introduced
get on with our
sidekick
lives.
Kitty Softpaws.
That
voiced by
existential
Selma
question of
Hayek.
what lies ahead is
Co-writer
the
David H.
foundation of the
Steinberg
finale.
noted
Titled
the movie was
Beavis and
made as a
Butthead Are
prequel,
Dead,
so
it's
that
the
there
show's
was
200th
no overlap
episode.
with
Due to a
Shrek, as
misunderstanding,
creators
everyone
didn't know
believes
what
the two are
Shrek 4
dead
was
and
going
decide to
do with the
celebrate.
characters,
McVicker
and
stops
they wanted to
shaking and the
avoid
school
writing
staff hold a party
conflicting
as everyone
storylines.
recounts
In
their
production
sins.
since Shrek 2, the
Daria,
movie was
I've seen
initially
you
prepped as a
talking with them.
direct-to-video feature
Well, I
before
guess it's kinda
DreamWorks
sad
realized
that
the
they're dead
character
and all,
and his
but it's not like
enormous
they had bright
potential for
futures ahead of them.
storytelling.
While much of it is a
deserved
clip
more.
show,
movie
the
opened
premise
in
is a
late
commentary on
2011,
premature
took in an
death
above
and how people
average
use it to their advantage and paint an
$555 million
idealized image of the
globally, and
deceased.
received a largely positive reception, with critics lauding it for being an old-fashioned adventure Shredder, free from the saccharine gags and overloaded pop culture references.
There's not a
of
ton
the
of
later
exploration
Shreks.
to this, but it's
Naturally,
there.
a 13-minute
In the end,
short,
Beavis and
Puss in
Butthead
Boots,
crashed
the
the memorial
Three
charity,
Diablos,
taking the
accompanied the film
donations
on
and
its
walking
home
into the
media release
sunset
in
thinking they're
2012.
rich.
Seeing Puss out to retrieve a stolen ruby while accompanied by 3 troublesome young kittens. This was further
And
followed
with
by
that, the show ended
Adventures
as it
of Puss in
started,
Boots
as under-elaborated
between
social
2015 and
commentary.
2018, a 6-season, 77-episode
Well, it's no
series
secret that the
produced
show
by
didn't end
DreamWorks
there.
Animation
But before
Television
discussing the
for
actual
Netflix.
final
The
season, I
series,
want to talk
a
about how
prequel
difficult
to the
it was to watch
prequel
the
movie,
show.
charted
Yeah, the title
even
wasn't just
further
clickbait, I did
adventures
do
of
this
Puss
illegally.
as he
Most
protects
of
the
seasons 1 to
once-hidden
3 are
city of
completely
San
unavailable
Lorenzo
for
from
digital or physical
invaders,
purchase.
alongside a
In
new
fact,
roster
of the
support.
200 original
While Shrek
episodes,
didn't
80
appear
have never
in the
been
series,
re-released.
another
Even the
ogre
ones
of
that
similar
have are stripped of their
appearance
commentary due to
named
licensing
Trunch appeared in
issues.
numerous
Basically,
episodes.
it's
In
impossible to
2017,
legally binge
DreamWorks
the show
additionally
in its
produced a
entirety.
spin-off
There are a
special,
number
Puss in
of reasons
Boots,
for why that
trapped in an
is.
epic
The early
tale,
episodes
Netflix's
feature a
very
lot of
first
content that both
interactive
MTV
special.
and Judge
In
regret
2014,
including,
a few
from
years
animal
after
abuse
the
to drug
release of
use.
Shrek's
Even episodes that
final
have seen
chapter,
distribution are often
mentioned that he was
redacted of these
confident another
elements.
chapter in the Shrek
Additionally,
series
after
was
the
on
fire
way,
incident, the
noting,
master
"We're
copy
not
of many
finished, and
episodes
more
were altered
importantly,
permanently,
neither is
making
he."
a full
Once again,
restoration
going
impossible.
against his
The most
four-part
conclusive
plan.
collection
In
out there
2016,
officially is
following
the Mike
DreamWorks
Judge collection,
Animation's
with every
acquisition
episode
by
handpicked by the
NBC
creator
Universal,
himself.
reports
While I
surfaced that
understand
a
the legal
screenplay
barriers
had been
prevent a large
completed for
portion
a
from
fifth
ever seeing the
movie,
light of
which had a
day,
planned
I do hope that one
2019
day we see a
release.
full
However,
release of the
nothing
show.
seemed to
Even if
come
they're
of it.
not
In
good, there's
2018,
historical
it was
value,
reported that
and that alone
Universal
should be
had
enough to
tasked
justify
Illumination
preservation.
head Chris Meledandri to reboot the Shrek franchise at DreamWorks.
In July of
Now no
2010,
longer run
MTV
by
announced that
Katzenberg.
Mike Judge would be
According to
returning to
Variety,
create a new Beavis and
Meledandri
Butthead
was
series.
tasked with
It
finding
premiered on
fresh
October
storylines
27,
to reintroduce the
2011,
characters to
and
new
ran for a total of
generations
22
moviegoers,
episodes.
with
While many were
Meledandri noting,
skeptical of
"The
what it would
challenge
be,
for us has
older
been to
fans were
find something
pleasantly
that really
surprised to
does
find
feel
that it
like
held
it's
right up
not
to the
simply
original,
yet another
retaining the
film
same
in a
art
series
style,
of
just in higher
sequels.
quality.
Though the
It's
next
almost as
Shrek
if they
is
never
planned to
left.
be a
But they
franchise
had, and
reinvention,
MTV
it's been
changed
said
a lot
creatives
since
want
they
the
were
original
gone.
cast
The once
to
hub for
return.
teenagers
No other
had turned into a
information or
channel for
further
reality
confirmations
television,
have since
near
followed.
unrecognizable
In fact,
of what
the
came
only
before.
appearance of Shrek on our
Season 8
screens
returns
since
to the original
2011
format
has
of
been
having
this
episodes
bizarre
broken up by
live-action
commentary.
sort of cameo appearance alongside Mike Myers in an episode of his
To mix things up,
2021
though,
Netflix
they also
series,
riff over
The
shows like
Pentaverate.
Teen
Though
Moms
we're
and
currently
Jersey
in the
Shore.
dark on Shrek
It's not
5,
entirely out of left
Meledandri's
field,
first
though there are
revival in the
moments you
Shrek
can tell
universe
Judge is
has
just pissed
landed,
off about what they're currently
2022's
airing.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish hitting theaters. Not so much the hard resets previously believed.
There's some great
and more
episodes
so
here,
a
like their
soft
parodies of
reboot.
Twilight and
Last Wish
Super
takes
Size
Puss
Me.
and Kitty
People feared that
Softpaws on
Judge
their
lost
next
touch of the
adventure,
characters,
where,
but he was
finding
able to
he's on the
instead
last
bring
of
new
his
life
9
back into
lives,
them.
they seek
Oh,
the
and also the
mystical
fire ban
last
was
wish
lifted.
to restore them all. Set after Shrek 4,
When episode 1
Last Wish
aired, it
features
received over
appearances
3
by
million live
various
viewers.
Shrek
It was
characters,
considered a
as well
ratings
as an
hit, and
exciting
MTV thought
new
the characters were
pre-film
back.
studio
However, as
ident
the season
and a
continued,
mid-credit
viewership
stinger,
plummeted,
which
with the final
signifies a
episode dropping
potential
under a million.
revamped Shrek
While I feel the
universe
season
of
was good,
movies
that wasn't
may be
enough to keep
closer
people
than we
interested.
think.
In the age of
Regardless of his
YouTube, their
absence from
commentary
the
was no
screen,
longer
Shrek's
novel. The
franchise
characters
is
weren't
still
edgy,
hanging
having
on,
long
and
since been
his presence
surpassed by
still
other
looms
animated
large over
sitcoms,
the
and there really
animated
wasn't any
landscape, with his
opportunity to
influence
attract
still
new
clearly touching
fans.
so
But most
many
critically,
animated
the
features
channel's primary
20
audience was
plus years
prepubescent
on. He's
girls.
also managed
That's
to
not an assertion.
penetrate the
Judge said
social
this
and
himself.
pop culture
Due to its poor
zeitgeist in
reception,
ways
the show wasn't
so
renewed.
few
For
characters
the next
have done,
decade,
in the
that
form
was the
of
end of Beavis and
hilariously
Butthead.
viral memes, demonstrating his enduring relevancy and
In the
proving
past
that
year,
he's
there's been
more
talks of both
beloved
a new
now
season
than
and
ever
film being
before.
produced
It's
for
almost certain
Paramount
we'll
Plus.
see
And
Shrek
while
again.
I probably will
Hopefully,
have
we
to
won't
watch
be
it out of
waiting
necessity, I
forever
do wonder
and
how the
ever.
issues
For
that
now,
arose in Season 8
to
will
be
be absolved.
continued.
Is
And at
streaming
that, I
enough
want
to
to know,
prevent the
what is
clashing of
your
target
favorite Shrek
demographics?
appearance,
Will
film,
significant
quote,
changes
or
be made to
meme?
make them
And
more
are
edgy?
you excited
I
for a
personally don't
potential
know what I would do to
film?
bring
Join the
these characters
conversation
back.
down in
There's
the
something to be
comments
said
below.
about the age of streaming, where once cultural phenomena are turned into, hey, there's a new season of this show I used to like. Beavis and Butthead was subversive because of how different it was to everything around it, and it just isn't anymore. They're very much products of their time, with each season shaped by the culture and circumstances that surrounded it. Much like its protagonists, the show only persisted through a combination of luck and pure resilience, in turn forming one of the most memorable icons of the 90s. On its face, Beavis and Butthead is a very shallow, surface-level show, and when you dig deeper it still is. But it's only then that you realize just how impressive its success truly was, amidst several media storms, budgetary issues, and an ever-changing pop culture. Perhaps there is a way for them to exist in our times, but the chances of the two returning to the throne are as slim as their chances to score.